The family tree of Noah's sons. This is the family tree of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. After the flood, they themselves had sons. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, Tiras. The sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Riphath, Togarmah. The sons of Javan, Elishah, Tarshish, Kittim, Rodanim. The seafaring peoples developed from these, each in its own place by family, each with its own language. The sons of Ham, Cush, Egypt, Put, Canaan. The sons of Cush, Seba, Havilah, Sabtah, Raamah, Sabteca. The sons of Raamah, Sheba, Dedan. Cush also had Nimrod. He was the first great warrior on earth. He was a great hunter before God. There was a saying, like Nimrod, a great hunter before God. His kingdom got its start with Babel, then Erech, Akkad, and Calneh in the country of Shinar. From there he went up to Assur and built Nineveh, Rehoboth Ir, Calah, and Resen between Nineveh and the great city Calah. Egypt was ancestor to the Ludim, the Anamim, the Lehobim, the Naphtuhim, the Pathruzim, the Casluhim, the origin of the Philistines, and the Caphtorim. Canaan had Sidon his firstborn, Heth, the Jebusites, the Amorites, the Girgashites, the Hivites, the Arkites, the Sinites, the Arvadites, the Zemarites, and the Hamathites. Later the Canaanites spread out, going from Sidon toward Gerar, as far south as Gaza, and then east all the way over to Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and on to Elishah. These are the descendants of Ham by family, language, country, and nation. Shem, the older brother of Japheth, also had sons. Shem was ancestor to all the children of Eber. The sons of Shem, Elam, Ashur, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram, Uz, Hul, Gether, Meshech. Arphaxad had Shelah and Shelah had Eber. Eber had two sons, Peleg, so named because in his days the human race divided, and Joktan. Joktan had Almodad, Shalef, Hazarmaveth, Jerah, Hadoram, Uzal, Diklah, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab, all sons of Joktan. Their land goes from Meshech toward Sephar as far as the mountain ranges in the east. These are the descendants of Shem by family, language, country, and nation. This is the family tree of the sons of Noah as they developed into nations. From them nations developed all across the earth after the flood. God turned their language into Babel. At one time, the whole earth spoke the same language. It so happened that as they moved out of the east, they came upon a plain in the land of Shinar and settled down. They said to one another, "Come, let's make bricks and fire them well." They used brick for stone and tar for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let's build ourselves a city and a tower that reaches heaven. Let's make ourselves famous so we won't be scattered here and there across the earth." God came down to look over the city and the tower those people had built. God took one look and said, "One people, one language, why, this is only a first step. No telling what they'll come up with next, they'll stop at nothing. Come, we'll go down and garble their speech so they won't understand each other." Then God scattered them from there all over the world. And they had to quit building the city. That's how it came to be called Babel, because their God turned their language into Babel. From there God scattered them all over the world. This is the story of Shem. When Shem was 100 years old, he had Arphaxad. It was 2 years after the flood. After he had Arphaxad, he lived 500 more years and had other sons and daughters. When Arphaxad was 35 years old, he had Shelah. After Arphaxad had Shelah, he lived 403 more years and had other sons and daughters. When Shelah was 30 years old, he had Eber. After Shelah had Eber, he lived 403 more years and had other sons and daughters. When Eber was 34 years old, he had Peleg. After Eber had Peleg, he lived 430 more years and had other sons and daughters. When Peleg was 30 years old, he had Ru. After he had Ru, he lived 209 more years and had other sons and daughters. When Ru was 32 years old, he had Serug. After Ru had Serug, he lived 207 more years and had other sons and daughters. When Serug was 30 years old, he had Nahor. After Serug had Nahor, he lived 200 more years and had other sons and daughters. When Nahor was 29 years old, he had Terah. After Nahor had Terah, he lived 119 more years and had other sons and daughters. When Terah was 70 years old, he had Abram, Nahor, and Haran. The family tree of Terah. This is the story of Terah. Terah had Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Haran had Lot. Haran died before his father, Terah, in the country of his family, Ur of the Chaldees. Abram and Nahor each got married. Abram's wife was Sarai, Nahor's wife was Milcah, the daughter of his brother Haran. Haran had 2 daughters, Milcah and Iscah. Sarai was barren, she had no children. Terah took his son Abram, his grandson Lot, Haran's son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife, and set out with them from Ur of the Chaldees for the land of Canaan. But when they got as far as Haran, they settled down there. Terah lived 205 years. He died in Haran. Abram and Sarai. God told Abram, "Leave your country, your family, and your father's home for a land that I will show you. I'll make you a great nation and bless you. I'll make you famous, you'll be a blessing. I'll bless those who bless you, those who curse you I'll curse. All the families of the earth will be blessed through you." So Abram left just as God said, and Lot left with him. Abram was 75 years old when he left Haran. Abram took his wife Sarai and his nephew Lot with him, along with all the possessions and people they had gotten in Haran, and set out for the land of Canaan and arrived safe and sound. Abram passed through the country as far as Shechem and the oak of Moreh. At that time the Canaanites occupied the land. God appeared to Abram and said, "I will give this land to your children." Abram built an altar at the place God had appeared to him. He moved on from there to the hill country east of Bethel and pitched his tent between Bethel to the west and Ai to the east. He built an altar there and prayed to God. Abram kept moving, steadily making his way south, to the Negev. Then a famine came to the land. Abram went down to Egypt to live, it was a hard famine. As he drew near to Egypt, he said to his wife, Sarai, "Look. We both know that you're a beautiful woman. When the Egyptians see you they're going to say, 'Aha! That's his wife?' and kill me. But they'll let you live. Do me a favor, tell them you're my sister. Because of you, they'll welcome me and let me live." When Abram arrived in Egypt, the Egyptians took one look and saw that his wife was stunningly beautiful. Pharaoh's princes raved over her to Pharaoh. She was taken to live with Pharaoh. Because of her, Abram got along very well, he accumulated sheep and cattle, male and female donkeys, men and women servants, and camels. But God hit Pharaoh hard because of Abram's wife Sarai, everybody in the palace got seriously sick. Pharaoh called for Abram, "What's this that you've done to me? Why didn't you tell me that she's your wife? Why did you say, 'She's my sister,' so that I'd take her as my wife? Here's your wife back, take her and get out." Pharaoh ordered his men to get Abram out of the country. They sent him and his wife and everything he owned on their way.